Okay, so we're on the
last
bottom.
line.
Yeah.
We got up to.
Yeah. So the last line on Ayin Ches Amid Beis. The Tanah Rabbana, Gonav, the guy stole it, but Nasan La'acher, and he gave it to somebody else, but Tovach, and he shechted it. Meaning, and that other person shechted it. Now, Rashi points out, it doesn't mean he gave it to somebody else for matana. Because if he gave it to somebody else for matana, then it's pashut. Giving it as a matana is the same thing as a mechira. Right? So that's not what's on there. He asked the guy to shecht it on his behalf, which we'll see in a minute in the Gemara why that works. It's because we say that yesh shliach l'dvar avera. For paying dalit behei, we say yesh shliach l'dvar avera. That's again, it's a Torah bana. Ganav v'nasan la'achar v'tamach. If you steal it, and you give it to somebody else and he shechts. Ganav v'nasan la'achar u'macha. And he steals, and he gave it to somebody else, and that person sold it for him. On Tamid Aleph. Ganav, or he stole it v'hikdish. And he made it hektish to the Beis HaMikdash. Right? Because by giving it over to the Beis HaMikdash is like selling it. Ganav v'hikif, if he stole it, and then he sold it with credit, meaning he never actually got money. He did what do you call it? Bill me later or something. What is it called? It wasn't COD. It was
layaway.
What?
Layaway.
Consignment?
Layaway, consign, whatever. They pay him later. Gonna v'hichlif, if he stole it and then he swapped it for something else. Gonna v'nasan b'matana, if he stole it and he gave it as a present. Gonna v'para chayva, he stole it and he used it to pay back a loan. Gonna v'para b'kefa, and he stole and he paid for something that he bought on credit. Right? Gonna v'shalach savlunas v'veischav, he stole it and then he sent it to his in-laws as a present. You know, back then, savlunas, when a guy got engaged, so they sent presents back and forth. So the chassan sent presents to the kala throughout. They were engaged for a year. So they sent presents to the kala. So he stole the animal and he sent it to them. So all these cases are all the equivalent of a sale. So you have to pay arba chamisha. The one that says, what's the chiddush with all these things? Ashmin and Reisha. So we're saying the Reisha tells us, Gona b'nasan la'achar b'tavach. If he steals it and he gives it to somebody else to shech for him, the yesh liach l'dvar avera. That's yesh liach l'dvar avera. Even though normally in the Torah we say ain't shliach l'dvar avera, right? You can't ask somebody to do an avera on your behalf. If he does it, he gets the avera, not you. But hocha by dalet behei yesh shliach l'dvar avera. We do say the shliach l'dvar avera my timer because it says v'tavcha utvachai umachara oy machara. Either if you shecht it or you sell it. Ma mechira delo yesha delo deacher delav al deacher, right? You can't sell an animal to somebody unless there's a third party there. So aftvicha al deacher to sell too shechting, even if you do it with somebody else, you're going to be chayiv. So that's the chiddush. The chiddush is really just the reisha that somebody else can shecht for you, and we say yesh shliach l'dvar avera.
The person who bought from how does the person who bought from know it's stolen? What does that mean?
The person who bought from him didn't do anything wrong. I mean,
right.
Stolen.
So then, what's it talking about? That the yesh shliach l'dvar avera? What is it talking about?
So yesh shliach l'dvar avera just means that this guy who he asked to shecht for him will be chayev.
Chayev what?
He's going to be chayev.
The shaychet's going to be chayev.
The shaychet's going to be chayev.
Why?
Right. What do you mean?
How does the shaychet know it's a stolen animal?
No, the ganav's going to be chayev dal v'hei, not the shaychet.
So you said then there ain't shliach l'dvar avera.
No, because yesh shliach l'dvar avera.
Except here. Yeah.
Except here, right. Normally, it's ain't shliach l'dvar avera. The shaychet will be chayev for shechting somebody else's animal. But
what's the avera?
You know, he stole somebody else. He didn't steal.
But the shaychet doesn't know he's not doing an avera. The shaychet.
Right.
So why is it a shliach l'dvar avera? It's not a shliach l'dvar avera.
No, but if he's asked to do it on behalf of the ganav, then it's shliach l'dvar.
Yeah, well, I gave this guy $50 to shech the animal. Dude.
Right.
Why should he think it's stolen?
No,
It must be talking about the Ganav tells the Sheikhet, I stole this behemoth, will you shecht it for me? Because I can't shecht. You shecht it for me, but it's a stolen animal.
Oh,
So the
so
Sheikhet
please,
knows
that's
that
not
Why
the
does he have to
case.
tell
Don't
him?
give me a break. That's not
Whoa,
the
why does he have to tell him?
because
You're doing an Avera for me. You're not getting an Avera. I'm getting an Avera.
Because usually the svara for ein shlich l'dvaravera is divrei Rav, divrei Talmud, divrei Mishai.
right, but why?
If
How
the
do
guy
you put
doesn't
that-
know that
how
he's
do you
doing an
make this
avera,
into this case? How do you make that into this case? Every
Right, I
shaykhid
don't
has
know.
to get a, every time you go to a shaykhid, he has to ask you for a bill of sale. What kind of crazy thing is that?
no, so he would be an inus. This guy, the guy who gave it to him, there's still ein shlich l'dvaravera. So he would still be chayv.
in what case?
Who's he?
This case where the shaykhid doesn't know. The shaykhid doesn't know, the guy does know. We
Right.
just need a way to make the ganav chayv. Usually, ein shliach l'dvaravera would say that the person who made the shliach has no shaykhus to it anymore, irrelevant of whether the shliach knows or not. So divrei Rav, divrei Talmud would make the shliach chayav if he knows about it. But if he doesn't know about it,
He
I
doesn't
still-
know. The guy doesn't know. He's an erlich shaykhid. What are you making him into a bum
No, but
for?
not.
He's
But
a
we're
regular
not.
erlich shaykhid. What does he have to do with this guy?
Ganav side of things. As far as the Ganav is concerned, usually ein shliach l'dvaravera would detach the mishaleach from the avera. Here, by Dalad Vehei, it doesn't. Shliach might be potter from everything. He's an einus. Fine, he's an einus. He doesn't get anything. But we also don't detach the mishaleach. The Ganav usually would be detached from this. In this case, we don't detach.
No, I agree with what Gershon's saying. Meaning here, the shliach. It doesn't make a difference. I don't think it makes a difference whether the shaykhid knew what he was doing or didn't know what he was doing. It's going to kick back to the cook, to the ganav. The shaila is if you in a case where he.
It has nothing to me. It has nothing to do with shlich l'dvaravera. It has nothing to do with that. This creep stole the guy's animal and he got it shechted. So he's chayiv daled behei. That's all. You don't have to go to all the great svaras we want to say. It's now a shechted animal. He has to give him daled behei. That's all. If the knife fell out of a tree, he still has to give him daled behei. It has nothing to do with nothing. It has nothing to do with shliach, ain't shliach, garnish. He has now a shechted animal. Give him daled behei. You're a ganif. Give him daled behei. That's all.
Right.
The animal walked into a knife and it got shechted. He give him daled behei. That's all. It has nothing to do with ein shlich d'varavei or divrei Rav. It has nothing to do with none of those wonderful svaras we have.
Baba Kamma would be a lot shorter.
Well, okay. You want to buy my edition? It has nothing to do with any of those svaras. He stole an animal. Now it's a shechted animal, so he pays him daled behei. That's all.
If we say
That's not what the chiyuv is for.
Okay, I don't
The
care what
chiyuv
the
is for. A
chiyuv
secondary shechita. Well, that's what the Torah says. The Torah says he has to do a second gneva by doing shechita. If he didn't do the shechita, he didn't do a second gneva.
Okay, fine. You want to? You're happy with that, Gershon?
It's not for having.
I'm not happy for you also.
The Torah doesn't say if the cow happens to be shechted. That's what the Torah says. He has to do another gneva.
No, but if the whole shiloh would be if it's ain't shliach l'dvaravera, right? That's right. There's no if you say ain't shliach l'dvaravera, so you have to figure out if this guy had no idea what he was doing. So what's going on? That would be a shiloh. I'm not sure what we would say then, right? So he had the wool pulled over his eyes and he shechted somebody's animal, right? Fine, okay. But anyway, so that's the first chiddush.
No, I'm asking with Aaron. If we held ein shliach l'dvaravera, the sheikhah would still be potter. There's no divrei Rav, divrei Talmud if he doesn't know about it. So he's going to be patur. The question is if the ganav is going to be chayav or not. Ravamina says with ein shlichus dvar avera, he would be patur also. The maskana he's chayav because yesh shlichus dvar avera by Bava.
Right. Yeah, no. Okay, weiter. Bashmin and Seifa, gonna be hikdish. If a guy stole it and was had hektish, mali machal lahedjid, mali machal l'shemayim. What's the difference if he sold it to the hedjid? What's the difference if he sold it to shemayim? Meaning, once you make it for hektish, then it goes for then it's like as if he sold it, right? Okay, good. Zog the Mishnah. Go to Rishus Habaylim. If he stole in the Rishus Habaylim, the tovach u'machar chutz mirishusam, and then he shechted it outside of the Rishus, meaning, I mean, isn't that usually when a stealing happens? You go into the guy's property and you steal it, right? Meaning he made a kinyan in the guy's property, and then he shechted it or sold it outside of the Rishus, which is, I think, the standard thing that happens, right? It'd be pretty stupid. I mean, I'm not a guy, so I don't know, but I mean, it'd be pretty stupid if you put up a for sale sign in a guy's front yard and say, I'm selling this guy's cows, right? But okay, but that's the classic case. You brought it out of their rishus. This is more abnormal. You stole it outside of the property, right? And then you brought it into the property, right? So there was also a kinyan and a shinu rishus. Or he stole it and shechted it or sold it outside the rishus. So in all these things, you pay arba b'chamisha. But if you stole and shechted and sold it in his rishus, then you're potter, right? I'm sorry.
What is he potter from?
He didn't do a kinyan.
What about Ganeva?
You didn't do it.
It says Ganav, didn't it?
Yeah, but it means it was a Geneva, but it wasn't done, it wasn't a proper Geneva. He was an Amoritz, he didn't know how to do a proper kinyan, so he gets away with it.
There's just two people who see what's going on, right? Because if they don't see what's going on, none of this applies, right?
Well, then we said,
I mean, it has to be in front of Adam.
well, obviously, whatever. Well,
No, that's what I'm saying.
It says with Tavach U'Macha, there must be a third party involved. There's a third party involved, so what do we care?
Why is there a third party? Who's the third party?
What? It says Tavach U'Macha.
Look at the Taisvis, of course, it meets our criteria, almost meets our criteria. It's a less than two line Taisvis to the left. Taisvis says it's talking about what he didn't pick it up. Because if he picked it up, then he would be kinda, he would be chayiv, like we're gonna say. Right?
So
he stole it without. He stole it without picking it up.
He stole. Basically, the way I understand it is, he walked over to the cow and slit its throat.
So where's the Geneva?
That's why he's putter.
Right.
Where's the Mechira?
What?
Where's the Mechira?
Or he took it without picking it up and he sold it to somebody.
Okay, so the guy who's the lokeach, he's part of the equation now.
Is he part of the equation? No, he was kind of from this guy who was never kind of. You're right. Rambam's asking a good thing. How is this guy being kind of something from somebody who was never kind of it himself? Right, that's what you're asking, Racham.
Right.
I hear your question. It's a good question, right? He's saying, what happened here? The guy basically walked into a guy's yard and said, this cow I'm selling to you. The guy says, great. And he takes the cow, gives him money, takes it home. Who was the crook here? Who did the kinyan?
Who's gonna pay?
I mean, the guy thought
he sold the cow for $1,000, right? So they're gonna go after the lakeach for $2,000. So
we just said he's putter.
Right, so the crook is potter, but the lokeach, he took away the animal, right? I mean, that animal is where's the animal now? By the lokeach, not by the ganav. So you're gonna say so maybe the lokeach is the one that's chayiv, but the ganav who sold it, gets away scot free.
Just dollar behay.
No,
You still have to pay the principal.
Not kayful, not dollar behay. He goes away scot free. This is a smart ganav.
I don't know. Does he have to pay the Karen?
But why? Why not? Why not?
He didn't do it myself with Kenyan, so he was not a ganav.
The guys who sold everybody the Brooklyn Bridge. Yeah. They didn't do anything. They stood in front of the bridge with a picture of it. They told the guy, "Yeah, you want to put?" Yeah, guy to all the greeners who just got off the boat. They said, "You can buy this bridge. Come hold it."
No, but I don't know what Avi Khan is saying. I don't know. It's
I mean, the Mishnah is saying Mishalim Tashlumi Arba Chamisha, but in the case where he sold it on his own property, he's putter. He's not saying putter for the kefel. He's saying you're putter for the dalet vehay. It's going on the dalet vehay, not on the geneva. It's the extra penalty. It's an extra penalty. He doesn't have to add the extra penalty.
Well, you're arguing on Tosfos there. Very nice. Tosfos said he didn't do a Kenyan.
Tosfos doesn't say gets off scot free. He's also saying
he says
putter
Vishalah
chayiv dalet vehay. He's also referring
means
to
he didn't do a Maisa Kenyan.
The animal was still taken. The animal was still not his anymore.
I'm saying, how can you be chayiv a guy if he's not a ganav? It says he's not a ganav. So what are you being chayiv? Maybe he's a mazik. Can we be chayiv him as a mazik? What do you do? Walk on. Let's keep the mechira one. Rachman is right. It's complicated. The mechira one. Let's go with the shchita. He walks over to the guy's animal and just slits its throat. What's his status? A ganav, a mazik?
Now he's a ganav. By shchita, he's a ganav. The whole problem
So,
is
in Racham's case, you could do. Why can't you do it?
You could do
the guy
it.
Has a big, we're thinking the guy has a farm of 20 feet and he has 5 sheep. The guy has a farm that 5,000 acres. So the farmer's never. He's not there. You stand on the side of the road, take one of his sheep, put his sign up for sale. I come up. I'm going to the country. Oh, I'm going to visit parents. I'll buy him a sheep. We'll have nice brisket. I buy the sheep.
Not the case. The case is a guy pulls into your driveway with his sheep, and the guy walking on the sidewalk, third guy walks by the sidewalk and says,
"Okay, so
I'll
make
sell
it
you
that
this guy's
way.
sheep.
That's fine.
I'll sell you this guy's sheep," and you sell the sheep from your driveway.
Right? He sold in the Bavavich Taka, right? Yeah. But I'm saying but is he a ganav? What is he?
So the third guy comes and takes his sheep that he just bought. That's Geneva. But it's the guy who sold it who's the
But he
ganav.
did to a Kenyan.
He never made a Kenyan, so how could he have stolen it?
Yeah, but after the last Gemara, it could be the Kenyan is leaving the owner's reshus.
But
so
the middleman didn't do that.
Yeah, but he what's the word? He
facilitated.
The middleman is a businessman. He's a businessman. So.
Sure.
Yeah. From the last Gemara, you see that the facilitator is going to be high. So it could be that's the Geneva, but it's not Daled Ve'eh, but it could be there would be cake. Rashi's clear that there's no cake. Rashi's the one that says the Le'nasa of Gam. Tosfos, it could be there would be cake.
I'm looking at the Rambam here. The Rambam says potter min kefil. So that means chayiv in the keren, but not al.
I have nothing.
Then why do you say potter min kefil?
What does that mean? The animal was taken from somebody, so he has to be paid back for that animal.
Go into a guy's reshus and shecht his animal. You don't have to pay anything. What do you mean talking about where the owner keeps the meat? You're saying the owner gets to keep the meat?
Shita would be chayiv kefir. Mechira is the problem. Shita is a full gneva. Even if he did it in a ritual style, it doesn't matter. He's gone up the animal. Right? Mechira is the issue.
Well, it could be what the Rambam means is that we can't be mechayev on Geneva, but the right thing to do is to give back, bignak the principle. If you can't give back the animal, then give back the cost of the animal. But that's maybe that's how it's called in mishpat. You have to give back what you took away, but you can't be mechayev on Geneva because there was no ma'aser of Kenyan there.
That's what it sounds like. That's what it sounds like from the Rambam. But okay, I don't know. I hear it's good. Yeah. Okay, good. It's good to know at least what we don't know, right? The different level. There's different levels. There's not knowing, and then there's knowing what we don't know. At least we clarified it. So thank you. Yeah. If he's pulling it, so he was in the middle of pulling it, and then it died. Potter, then he's potter, right? Because meaning it died by itself. He didn't shecht it, right? Meaning, so he didn't get it out of the rishus. The mamela, he's not going to be chayiv. But if he picked it up, and then it died, then he's chayiv. Because it's not only shchita that the crook is chayiv for. The crook is also chayiv for anything that happens to an animal becomes his responsibility. Right? Nasul b'chayras b'noi. He is a real tzaddik, right? He gave it to be paid to his son instead of giving silver dollars. Right? He went and he gave this animal, the stolen animal, or he paid for it, he gave it to the Shamachina for money, the Shayel, like say Sacher, for the guy who he paid to watch, or somebody who rented, right? And then he was pulling it, and then Mace Rishus Habayla, Potter, then he's Potter. Right? Because there was no Kenyan. If he picked it up or he took it out of Rishus Habayla or Mace, and then it died, Chayiv, he is Chayiv. Right? Because he did Kenyan. Right? Yeah. So okay, Taisus, where is it? Taisus? Yeah, Nasnul B'charis Benoy L'Bal Chayv. Right? Is then he goes through the whole thing how we work with in these cases of Shliach with Varavera, ancient with Varavera. Right? Because who's doing the Kenyan? I like Rachamim brought up. So it's really in that Taisus. Okay, fine. Zog the Gemara. Boy, Amema asked this question. Tiknu Mashicha b'Shaimer, my Lord. Were they masakin Mashicha by Shaimer? Meaning, when does the Shaimer start becoming chayiv in the Shmira? When is he chayiv once he has to, meaning does he have to pull the animal in order to be chayiv, or once he agrees to watch it, then that's it, then the clock starts. What's a negeya? Because really, when you buy something, ma'is is kind of. Right, we had this a couple of times. Well, really, money is kind of. Right, meaning it comes up a lot. It comes up a lot, with the internet business. When is the kinyan? Can I have an internet business open on Shabbos? When's the kinyan? Right. If somebody puts his credit
every shmira needs a kinyan.
That's the one I was asking.
I'm saying, what if I have someone? What I'm going away next? I'm going away to Florida now. I have someone to watch my house. They're not moving my house.
Correct. So for karka l'chara doesn't need mashicha, right? Which we'll get to at the bottom of the Amid actually. But
how are they watching it exactly?
I'm not really asking someone. I'm just making up the case. I am going away, but I'm making up the case.
Okay, so I'm just wondering
let's say
when I'll have an empty house.
I'm saying if I'm asking to watch my house, to watch my car, if I ask my neighbor to watch my stuff.
Last week, my neighbor went away for Shabbos. They have hamsters. So it's my kids' jobs to feed the hamsters. Now I don't know if they've accepted on themselves shomer or not, but they disappear on Friday night, middle of the Suda. Where they go to feed the hamsters? Okay, sure. So, I mean, is that a shmira? Let's say Taka, we were watching them, but we didn't do a mashicha. We just left it in the house. We just went in to check on them. Right? So you're right. So I don't. If you hold that you need a mashicha, then we wouldn't be responsible. Right? So that's the shaila. Now, why do you need mashicha by a purchase? The reason why you need mashicha by a purchase is because, let's say I taka buy something from you and it's in your attic. You say, hey, I need a shari tshuva, mine's missing. So I say, you tell me I'm going to sell you my shari tshuva. Fine. I say, okay, I sell you $1. You sell me the shari tshuva, and then I have to come pick it up from you, right? So we're afraid that chas v'shalom, a fire breaks out, and you want to get everything out of the house. You say, oh, that's Stein's shari tshuva. That I'll wait for that. It's his loss, not my loss. Why should I get that, right? So memela, because of that chashash, so they said the kinyan doesn't happen until I actually do mashicha on it. Like this, you'll save the guy's things. So that was the takara, right? So then the same thing. So how did kinyanim work? Somebody buys something off me from the internet. Is there really a kinyan on Shabbos? The kinyan doesn't happen until the guy gets it, right? Okay, with Goyim is different. It's a whole. I'm saying, but that's the shaila. Do you need a mashicha for a kinyan or not? So the Gemara. So for a mechira, we hold you need mashicha because it is takana. Do we say the same thing by shomer? That's the shaila. So by yemim, tikna mashicha b'shomerim halai. Someone of Yemar on the first white line. Tashima naslu the b'charis b'nai oila bal chayvay. If he gave this thing, at the end of the Mishnah says, if the crook, gave the animal as a bechor for a son, oila bal chayvay. Over a balchayv l'shem mechinam u'l'shayel noisei u'l'saycher. Hayamayshchay v'yaitza. So if he was pulling it and it went out, u'meis b'shus habaylam pata. My lav shaymer. Or maybe he was. Why was the guy pulling it out? He was pulling it out because the crook told him to pull it out. B'shmami no, because again he was giving it for a bechar for his benai or the balchayv or the shaymerim. So who was pulling it out? The shaymer. Why was the guy pulling it? The guy was pulling it because he's becoming a shaymer. So no, Ganav. It was the Ganav. It was the Ganav pulling it. So when it says if it was the Ganav, Atanali Reisha, we already said that in the Reisha. If the Ganav was pulling it out, so it's a problem. So I mean, it's not a problem because it died before it went out. It's just Tana Ganav Shekanav B'Beis Abaylim, the Tana Ganav Shekanav B'Beis Shaymer. So when it says no, there's two different Ganavs. There's a Ganav that's stealing it from the owner's house, and then there's a ganav that's stealing it from the shaymer's house. Yeah, fine. So Amar Ravashi. So Ravashi said, "Loi sidchaya, don't push it off. Mali ganav sheganav beis shaymer, mali ganav sheganav beis bailim. What's the difference, right? Meaning, why should it make a difference where the ganav is stealing it from? Elalav shaymer b'shmami no tiknu b'shicha b'shaymer. Must be it's talking about the shomer, and just learn from this that there's a meaning. We had a raya that this must be talking about a shomer, and you see a shomer has to pull it. Then we said no, it's talking about a ganav, and there's two situations of ganav, right? So we say, so then Ravashi says, what do you need two situations of ganav? There's no reason, there's no difference in them. Elamai the raya must be a raya. Shmami no. So that we hear from this that we do say that by Shaimrim there's a takana of Mashicha. The one continues it Manami Amar Abelazu Kederach Tiknu Mashicha B'Lekuchas. The same way they were masakin Mashicha B'Lekuchas Kach Tiknu Mashicha B'Shaimrim. They were also masakin Mashicha B'Shaimrim. Tani Nami Hachi Kederach Tiknu Mashicha B'Lekuchas Kach Tiknu Mashicha B'Shaimrim. Ukashem Shah Karka Niknes B'Kesef B'Shtar B'Chazaka. The same way, there's three ways to make a kinyan on karka. Kesef, shtar, and chazaka. Kaschirus, renting, when you rent, you niknis b'kesef, b'shtar, b'chazaka. So I'm going to ask, schirus demai, what are you renting? Ilema, antam b'beza. Ilema, schirus, metaltalin. If you say that you're renting schirus of metaltalin, meaning you're renting a car. That's as car metaltalin, I don't know. You're renting a tool, right? You don't need a star to rent metaltalin. Meaning, it's not. Meaning, you can't use a star to rent metaltalin. Metaltalin, you need to do mashicha or agba. Someone the karka. Somewhere where you're renting karka. So if you're renting a field from somebody or a hotel room, whatever it is, and you do the kinyan the same way you do a kinyan with a purchase, which is kesef shtar or chazaka. Fine. Now we get into a shtickle agada. It's not a mamash agada, but it's close. If you see him, the crook hiding in the forest, right? Meaning the animals are near the forest, and he's hiding in the forest, and he's gonna make an attack in order to get it. And then he shechts it or he sells it. She pays Aaron Chamisha. Why? Because he's a ganav. Anyways, I'm going to ask, am I his fields? And he didn't do Mashiach. He shafted it or sold it. Talking about when you hit it with a stick. By hitting it with a stick, that caused it to run. That running made him into a kinyan. Made it a kinyan. So then the Gemara says, Amri v'kimin the but if people saw him, then he's not a ganav, he's a gazlan. Right? Meaning we said the difference, there's no dollar v'hei by gazlan. There's only dollar v'hei by a ganav. But a gazlan is straight in your face. So Mamela, he doesn't pay dollar v'hei. So this guy, if you saw him, meaning if he was hiding in the forest, so he's a ganav because he was trying to not be seen. You saw him, he's a gazlan. So when I answer is given the komitam no, but he was trying to hide. So ganav, who is a ganav? Okay, so if he's trying to hide, he's considered a ganav.
But he was trying to hide, but everybody saw him, so it didn't work.
Correct. He wasn't the most successful.
Okay.
Ganav. So he was seen.
That applies to all the cases that we said there were Adam. All the places we said there was Adam. They saw the guy and big guy in him. So then he's a Goslin.
Again?
All the cases that we had with Ganav and we had Adam, right? He didn't do it for Hesse. He did it because he didn't want to get seen, and then he was.
I always understood that a Gazan did it in front of people. That in your case, he didn't necessarily see the Adam. He didn't see them. He was trying to be a Ganav. And he, as far as he was concerned, he was a Ganav. He was very surprised when the cops came to his house the next day. And they said, these two guys saw you, you dope. He didn't even go in with AK-47 as a Goslin and rob the bank, you know?
It reminds me of my youth. Let me close this.
No, I understood it that he thought he wasn't being seen and people saw him.
Yeah. That's all the cases of Adam. That's how I understood it. Or most cases, whatever, where it was necessary to understand it that way.
I hear. Okay, but then the Gemara says, Gazlan Hechidama. So you're right. So then how do you ever have a Gazlan? Meaning if we're saying, maybe that's your kasha, Rachman. I don't know. If you're saying that if people see him, he's still considered a Ganav, well, it's actually the opposite of your kasha, right? If you're saying that people see him, right, as long as he's trying to hide, he's a Gazlan. So then when do you ever have a Gazlan?
Yeah, that's his question.
Yeah. So then what do you ever have a Gazlan? So Amar Bava, Kigoin ben Yo ben Yoyada, like ben Yo ben Yoyada, Shenemar, but Yigzal is a Chanis, and he stole the spear, Miyara Mitzri, Miyargu Chanisa, and he killed him with the Chanisa. So that was not, he wasn't hiding from anybody. All right, so that is a straight up Gnev, right? The people of Shechem, Shenemar, they would put what do you say?
That's Xavier, man.
What did I say? Geneva? No, Gazela. I'm sorry, it's Gazela. Yes, it's Gazela. Yes, thank you. The Baalei Shem were, how do you call Ma'arvim? They were ambushing on the Moshe Haram, and they stole from anybody that would pass. Right? So those are Gazlanim, right? But Rav Avo, my time and Rav Avo, how come he didn't say from this? right? Meaning, why Rabbi Bava said it was from Ben Yoel Ben Yoyada. Why didn't he do from the Shem, which is earlier enough? So Amar Loch, since they hid, right? They ambushed. When you ambush, I think the definition of ambush is that you hide. So since they hid and then they came out of hiding, so then he didn't think they would be considered gazlanim. Okay, but Rabbi Yochanan, what does he say? They weren't. This said they were hiding. If people are gonna, they weren't scared. They would be in your face like gazlanim straight. They weren't scared, but they would make sure they would hide, make sure to hide because they were. If people would see them, they'd turn around, and they wouldn't be able to ambush them. Right? Fine. Okay. So then we get to the famous. We have two famous Gemaras here. Right? Shalu Talmidav es Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai. So the Talmidim asked Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, Torah began of Yosem Gazlan. Why was the Torah more machmer on a ganav than a gazlan? Meaning a ganav has to pay daled hey, like we've been saying, and a gazlan does not. Right? So Amar Lahen zeh hishve covered eved recovered koine. This one made the covet of the eved, meaning humans, to the covet of his owner. Right? Meaning he's just as he's not scared of people the same way he's not scared of Hashem. So he's not so bad. Meaning this guy just doesn't have Yiras Shamayim. Finished. Right? This one did not equate the covet of the eved to the covet of his owner. Right? So Mamela, why? Because if you're hiding from people and you don't think that Hashem is watching you, so you're actually not caring about Hashem. You're caring more about humans than you care about Hashem, which is unfortunately many of us. We had it in Orchis Tzadikim. Right? Kivayachol asa ayin shalmata ki'ilu ein araya. He made it like the eye of the one on the bottom, meaning which is a lashon sagi nor, meaning which means the one on top, meaning Hashem, is if it doesn't exist, that if he doesn't see. And the ear shalmata, which again means shalmala, as if it doesn't hear. Shenemar, woe is the one who hides in the depths and is making his things dark. Hashem will not see and he won't understand. They're going to say Hashem abandoned everybody and he doesn't see. Yeah, so that's what we're afraid that people are going to say. That's what the God was essentially saying. I'm not worried about Hashem. I'm worried about humans. There's a mashal in the name of Rabbi Gamliel. Two people in a city and they made a party. One invited the people from the city, right? But he didn't invite the children of the king. The other one was just totally antisocial. He didn't invite anybody from the city, and he didn't invite from the king either. So who gets the bigger punishment? Right, so the same mashal. If you're more worried about the people, humans, than you are of Hashem.
This is not giving Tamei mitzvahs.
It is certainly is.
So we're not supposed to do that.
Yeah, I would love to know when we try and do that. When we try
to make a marshal, it's ma'atava duma. Is what it's similar to, but not a tam. There's not a tam.
Before this, the Gemara before this.
Gemara before, yeah.
Yeah. By the way, Agav, the Haftarah wasn't anywhere close to 21 psukim. Just to put that out there. Okay, that has to do with the morning kabbalah. Right? So Haftarah is supposed to be 21 psukim. We have a tally going. Naftali, I don't know if he added this to his count.
This was longer this week.
Oh, sure. It wasn't even close.
It wasn't close to 21?
It's like
no, it was short.
This week is shorter. Next week next week makes up for all the parshas. But yeah. Anyways, Amar Rav Meir. So Rav Meir said, "Bore Kamma gadol koyach shel malacha." Here's another mussar. We didn't have to do mussar tonight. This is heavy mussar here. How great is the koyach of doing work? Shor shebitlu mimelachta yashar, if you steal it or you shechted it or sold it, right? So you're causing it not to do work. So chamisha, you pay five animals, but you pay back 4 animals if you did it. Seh shaloi bitul mimelachta. Seh doesn't usually do malacha, just grazes. Arba, you only pay 4, right? Because ones that work are much more important than ones that don't work. Let's see how great covered abrius. Shor when you steal it, you just walk it. So chamisha, so you pay 5. Seh shirkivu aksefai, where he has to carry it on his shoulders, arba, right? He only has to pay 4. Meila, so what? So it's embarrassing for the this is a wild Gemara, right? It's embarrassing, right, for a person to have to steal to carry a sheep on it. Everybody sees this guy carrying a sheep. That's the way he steals. They look, oh, look at this guy, the Zionis, right? He's carrying a thing on his shoulder. So because of that, if he gets caught, we knock off 25% of his knas because he
So
had
a truck hijacker, you should punish less than a diamond stealer.
basically, yeah.
You don't think the guy's carrying the sheep on his shoulders? They're going to say, "Oh, this is a Zay Moshe Rabbeinu." He's such a big tzaddik. He's carrying the sheep on his shoulders.
Oh, let me shecht it for him.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, I'm saying, oh, it's a wild thing, right? This guy who, because he just walks the animal, so he looks normal. So Mamela, when he has to pay back, he has to pay back 4 times, meaning altogether 5 times. He has to pay back 4 extra animals. And the guy that picks up the sheep, since it's a design for him to carry the sheep, so Mamela, he only has to pay back 4 times. All of a sudden, we care about the pusha of a ganav. So that's what he means. That's what the mayor is saying, that how great is the koyach of melacha, which again, I'm not exactly sure. What does melacha have to do with it, right? The way Rashi understanding it, Rashi sounds like it's the zilzal. What does it have to do with melacha, right? It
depends which way you're looking at.
What?
The mayor is looking at the baseline is 4. So why does the shark pay 5? They must have done something extra to the shark, just from the law. Yeshua ben Zakkai is looking at the baseline is 5. And the kasha is why does the sheep pay less? Then you have the real. But it depends which way you're looking at. What's the base? 4 or 5?
Come in. Well, it depends. Yeah, but why are you calling it malacha? Why
the shar doesn't do malacha.
What?
Shar does malacha. The sheep does not do malacha.
I know, but what does it have to do with carrying it on your shoulders?
No, that's. I'm a little bit confused. One's Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, one's Rabbi.
Yeah, but I thought Bo Re'eh. So you're saying he's saying a different pshat? I guess. You're right. I hear. I thought he was saying same. I thought he was continuing Rameir's pshat. But you're right. You're saying he's chaylik.
I don't know if it's chaylik per se, but they're looking at it in a different direction. The Yochanan ben Zakkai is looking at 5. The hay is the baseline. Everything should pay 5. So why does the sheep pay 4? He means the reason why a sheep is more kuladik than a shar. The mayor is looking at it the other way. 4 is the baseline. So why does the shar pay more? Because the shar is the bumalasi. They both can be true. I don't think any of this is really the reason why. They're trying to learn mutzir out of what the Torah says. They're not giving the why it's 4, why it's 5.
Right. I hear. Okay, I don't. No, l'chari, you're right. I like your first pshat that it's 2 different pshatim. Finished. Right. L'chari, it's 2 different pshatim. Okay, we'll stop. We'll stop here. It's late already. Okay, so Tillim. Big Gimel. Shimas Malasaf.
Eliam Adom Ilach, Hatachrash, Hatishkait El, Kinea, Yevecha, Yamana, Masanecha, Nasura, Shalam, Yirim, Soid, Yisrael, Tual, Tfanecha, Amru, the Kuban Apigan, the Gavi, Lo Yisach, Shem Yisrael, Oid. Kinea, Tula, Yachta, Valacha, Bisi, Chrois, Ale, Adam, Ishmael, Moyov, Agrim. 12, Amoin, Vamalek, Kaleshas,